So right now I have a putter in my hands, which almost looks like a chipper. It has 7 degrees of loft. If you're on the video, you can see this. And there's a good reason why. This is the Bettinardi ARMLOCK, the Matt Kuchar Signature Edition. And today I'm going to chat with Sam Bettinardi about this putter. This was one of the first attempts at making a mass market ARMLOCK putter. So he's going to tell the whole story of how it came to be, kind of what some of the challenges were as they created it, and the prototyping and then selling of it. And then we're just going to talk about like what they've learned over the years at Bettinardi about ARMLOCK putters. They've been doing it for a long time. 2013 was this launch, and yeah, they're still making them today. So an important story to tell in our series on alternative putting styles, because the ARMLOCK is a big part of that, but it hasn't really taken off. So we talk about why as well. Maybe why haven't we seen it grow more since 2013? But man, this is a really interesting putter. This it's got a bunch of offset, bunch of loft, but it sets up really, really nicely when you go to ARMLOCK it. So it's a fun club to play around with. Going to talk about this more here soon, but let's get into this with Sam. Okay, let's go back. What was the first idea of an ARMLOCK putter? Like, where did it come from?
Yeah, the first idea really came about in 2010. Matt Kuchar won the money title on the PGA Tour, was playing great, cashing a lot of checks, and in that year, I believe the PGA Championship maybe was at Whistling Straits, and my father Bob had driven up to Whistling Straits, bumped into Matt Kuchar. We had a relationship with Matt going back to 2002. The Honda Classic was his first PGA Tour title, and he won it with a Bettinardi putter.
Huh.
So as we do on the PGA Tour, we're always trying to get players to switch into our product. So my dad ran into Matt. Matt, good to see you. Would love to make you a putter again. How do we get you in play? And he said, Bob, funny you ask. I'm actually trying to develop this new putting style where I hold the putter on my forearm. I don't know how to use it. I don't know what it needs to look like, how to hold it. But he goes, do you remember when Bernhard Langer won the 93 Masters, where he was essentially wrist locking it, right? He had that putter grip on his wrist. And he goes, I want to do that, but I want it on my forearm. So again, something totally brand new. And the way that I was told the story, it was Kuchar had approached Scotty Cameron, Garen Reif, and then my father to make him this style of putter. So we had made him probably 25 to 30 different prototypes with different head shapes, different weld necks, different offsets, different lofts, and finally settled on what he used for most of his career from 2013 to the last few years of a what we call basically the Kuchar Model 1 or our Studio Stock 28. It's a wide body blade, and his putter at that time had 7 degrees of loft that was milled into the face. And the reason it had so much loft is when you put that putter grip on your forearm, right, and you have that shaft and grip so far forward on your forearm, you're de-lofting the putter. So you need loft added back in to offset all that de-lofting you're doing, keeping it forward. So a lot of R&D, a lot of time went into making that happen. And then that first year he put it in play in 2013. He won the WGC at Dove Mountain. He won the Memorial in May at Jack's Place, and the rest is history.
Interesting. Okay, let's get into the weeds on it a bit then. What what is there anything difficult about making an ARMLOCK putter, or like what were the things that you had to figure out about like how to make a good putter for this style?
Totally. Once we settle on Matt's exact head and exact configuration, the first step was, hey, we got to get this to the masses because we think ARMLOCK's going to be great, right? So the
Sure.
challenge of machining that was a lot of companies at the time, shortly thereafter we released the ARMLOCK, didn't mill the loft into the face because that's custom tooling, custom fixturing, and it's more complex versus just milling. I'm looking for a putter on my desk versus just milling, right, the flat of a loft op of 3 degrees where you needed to mill it at 7 degrees. The second challenging part, which is what we all kind of secretly feared, is that his shaft had 2.5 shafts of offset. So the post that goes on that putter right here was angled. Let me see if I got one behind me.
Okay.
Uh,
I
I do
like that.
not. This post right here, Corey, I got a putters all over my office, but this
Yeah,
post
I
right
like
here,
it.
uh, is an 18-degree angle, and with the Kuchar arm lock, it was 12 degrees, and this is Kuchar arm lock was 22 degrees. So with that shaft, you need a thicker shaft and a heavier shaft to allow for the heavier head weight and then that big bend. So we had to source through our shaft companies we use what we call a ski pole shaft that was a lot thicker, and then a custom bend to allow it to go into that 22-degree push of a neck, right? So what our always fear was, I remember in 2013, I went to watch Matt at the Masters, and our head of engineering was like, just pray that putter doesn't snap. I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, that neck is at such an angle, and Matt always rests his body leans on the putter. We hope that it doesn't snap. It shouldn't, because it's milled from 303 stainless, and the stainless is very durable, but we've never done this before. So let's just pray it does. And I'm like, oh God, that's the last thing you want to hear when you're down there and you're hanging out with Cooch and his family, that his putter could break during the Masters.
That's pretty good. Okay, so for a novice, I'd feel dumb for asking this, but what does milling loft into the face mean, and is that different than bending it? I sorry if that's a dumb question, but something to
No, it's a
clarify
great
maybe.
question. So when you think about why loft is on a putter, right? The theory is that a golf ball that's resting on a green, right? It's kind of leaving an impression in the green. So you need loft, right? If my
Mhm.
hand is straight 90 degrees, you need a little bit of loft to be able to lift that golf ball out of the impression and start rolling end over end immediately, right? So when I say milling loft into the face, if it's not completely flat, if you look at it like this, so that fixture that's set up to mill the loft is angled at a way which is 3 degrees. So when I'm talking about 7 degrees, right, it's here, but it's angled more to be able to allow that 7 degrees of loft milled into the face. So when we first launched that Kuchar models, it was the KM1 and the KM2 in the spring of 2013. I remember it very vividly. It was May of that year. Both models had that much loft milled in the face, and that was my job when I started here 12 years ago, was to sell and market the brand. And I remember talking to a lot of people, like podcasts, over the phone, and media, and they'd say, wow, that is really hard to look down at. It almost looks like a wedge, right? And I said, you have to put it on your left forearm. This is how it works. So I think, again, over the years, Kuchar had even gone down from 7 to 5 to even 3 degrees of loft on his putter. So we learned over the years you don't necessarily need 7. Current ARMLOCK offerings are milled into the head, Cordy, right now at 5 degrees. We feel like that's a great number for a wide variety of players. Start as a great starting point versus 7, which is a little off-putting at times looking down at that much loft.
Well, I went on eBay and bought one. I thought I was going to be here today,
Nice.
but it didn't make it in time. So I'm interested to see what 7 degrees of loft looks like on
Totally.
those original ones.
Totally.
That's interesting. You guys changed it. Is the reason that in that first model he was just leaning so far forward, or had so much
He was
forward
so
press
far
that
forward. Yeah,
okay,
and I'll give you an example. I just got a new putter made for me today, and it's our Antidote SB2. And we had made a couple front pieces with 5 degrees of loft, right? And when Kuchar first started putting, he was he was out here.
okay,
If you
yeah.
ever look up those early videos, he was way forward. And since then, he's become a lot more closer to his body, which means you don't have to have all that loft on the putter.
Got it, got it.
Again, if you look at a guy like Bryson, whose arm lock is 79 degrees of lie angle, right? He's very, very upright, but he's got that putter tucked inside his body. Where again, when Kuchar started, he was way, way out, which required again that 7 degrees.
Did I? That's interesting. Thinking back, he wasn't so upright, right, when he was doing arm
He
lock with
was
the
very
lie angle.
flat. He
Oh,
was
really?
flat.
Okay.
I want to say he
But
was like 68 and a half to 69.
wow, would you? What's your stock lie on something? Is it more upright
70.
on the arm lock?
70's our standard line goal
Okay.
that we offer to golfers. We feel like that's a great number. I think a lot of people that come into Studio B Oakbrook, they get fit. And I'd say more often than not, we're bending people flat to
Mm.
69, 68 and a half ish versus going more upright. I think it's just a natural position for golfers to be, is a little flatter. But 70's our stock line goal.
Got it. Okay, let's go. I want to go a little bit deeper. I'm not sure I totally followed on why the thicker the ski pole shaft. So that's because the offset is more, or could you dive into that again? I don't know if you could show us that again. I want to make sure I understand that.
Yeah. Yeah, we call it a ski pole shaft just because it's a lot thicker than a standard shaft, right? And if
Yeah.
I were to grab again another putter right here to see the difference, you could see how thick this one is in my left hand versus this thin one right here. It's probably about 30 to 40% bigger. So the reason you needed a ski pole shaft is because of the heavier head weight at 400 grams versus a 358-gram head, which is typically our standard weight. So that
Okay.
extra thickness and bulkier shaft accommodated the heavier head, and that's what Matt Kuchar preferred. So we figured at the time, hey, if this is what Matt likes, people out in the public want to game and use what the professionals are using. So here we go. Here's a shaft.
Got it. Have you, in your armlock putters, have you kept the heavier weight in the head? Is that maintained over time?
We have. Yeah, because ARMLOCKs, when we first launched them, even this day, you're offering lengths from 38 to 45 inches, right? So with that extra length of the shaft and the extra weight of the grip, you need that extra weight in the head to essentially counterbalance all that additional weight you're doing on the bottom end or on the top end, excuse me. So that extra head weight helps. You could still try an arm lock at a standard weight. It's just going to feel very light when you have that extra grip, extra shaft, and length all adding up. That adds up a lot.
Got it. Okay. So take us back then. You said your first job there was marketing this putter then, right? That was where you kind of got started?
Yeah, I started. I always knew I was going to work for the family business. I played golf at college at Marquette. I played a lot of junior golf growing up. So golf's in my blood. It's in my veins. And I graduated from DePaul University. And my plan was always to work somewhere else for 2 to 4 years, take that experience, come back to Bettinardi Golf and start working with my dad. And at the time when I was graduated, I went to Marquette for 2 years, DePaul for 2 years. So I had an extra quarter in there. So I graduated in December. And when December came around, I was looking for jobs, and he said, I'm about to sign Matt Kuchar, and we haven't had a big tour player on our staff in quite some time. I really need somebody to help me out and sell and market this. And obviously, you're my son. I trust you. It'd be great timing. So I started with him right after the PGA show, so end of January, and that was the development of the arm lock. He started using it. I think in February, we decided we were going to make that putter. And when we decided to make that putter, my job, just like we're talking now, I was doing a lot of sales. So I had a headset on and I was always, in my office, standing up, holding the arm lock, saying, yep, you grab it with your left arm. You put the butt into the grip 2 inches below your left elbow. You rock the shoulders. It takes the wrists out of the stroke. It takes the hands out, and it really promotes the upper body in the stroke. So after doing that for months and months, I was like, wow, this thing feels actually really good. So I put it in play later that year, and I haven't really switched putters in the last 12 years just because I'm such a believer in the arm lock technique. It's helped my game probably 3 to 4 shots around easily just from having that added stability. Again, there's no hands, there's no small muscles that get involved. So yeah, back to your question. That's how I really started. And the arm lock story and signing Matt is like my baby. I feel very passionate about that.
So what do you remember? Because was this like the first armlock that had ever been kind of like mass released to the
Yes.
public at the time?
Yes, it was.
So people had no idea what it was. They're just like,
People
what are
had
you
no
talking about?
idea. So imagine, we were 20 times smaller back then than what we are now. So there really was no big marketing budget to tell the masses. So I remember in May we went to it's when the Players Championship was at Sawgrass in May. We went down there. We rented a little like the teaching facility at the back of the range. Invited Golf Digest, Golf Week, a bunch of different media, and it was my father and Matt. And they explained to the world what we did. We launched it, initiated it, got it into retail stores that month in May, and it just took off. It was really, really popular, but the challenge was is still nobody knew how to putt with it, right? They watched Matt on TV. We made some YouTube videos about it, but again, we didn't have $30 million to go on Golf Channel and blitz the world on ARMLOCK technology. And then what really, to me, put gasoline on the fire of that was in 2014, Mike Davis from the USGA said that belly and long putters were going to be banned and made illegal. And he specifically said in his speech, the arm lock technique that Matt Kuchar uses will remain legal. So it couldn't have asked for better marketing, just saying A, arm lock, and B, mentioning our player. And that rules, they had about a year and a half to 2 years to stop using belly long and anchoring on their body. And Mike Davis and the USGA felt that, hey, we can keep arm lock legal because the grip is still traveling with your body to you, and that anchor point's not moving. So that was another big sales surge. People started going, oh shoot, I can't use this. Let me try arm lock. So again, if we were to do it all over again, I wish we would have made that first model with less offset and less loft, where that had 2.5 shafts of offset and 7 degrees of loft. Like I said, now the arm locks we're making are 1.5 shafts of loft offset and 5 degrees of loft. It's less intimidating for consumers to look down at. It feels a little bit easier to pick up and go versus a lot of the questions we got is, hey, where's ball position go? Where do I put my forearms? How far do I want to forward press? How little do I want? Again, it was all brand new, Cordy. So nobody really knew besides watching Kuchar on TV. And then shortly around that time, Webb Simpson, Keegan Bradley started arm locking, among some other players where it was more visible out on the PGA Tour where consumers could watch what golfers were doing at the biggest stage.
Yeah. I mean, pretty cool though, first to market with kind of like that product, and kind
Totally.
of pioneering that idea out there. What year is that again? That all
That
kind of
was 2013.
2013.
The
Okay.
development took place all of 2012,
Okay.
and then again making all those prototypes with all sorts of neck configurations, lofts, offsets, and finally Matt settled on the one, and he won 2 PGA Tour events in 5 months with the putter. So really, really took off. He got to number 6 in the world. So again, we had our guy still on our staff to this day, but he's using a
Mhm.
reverse arm lock in our antidote model versus the left forearm arm lock.
Yeah, well, I think we need to go there. I want to go there, but first I want to go back to tell me about the year of prototypes. Like, was obviously pretty involved kind of process of figuring it out. Was it mainly figuring out the offset and the loft? Was like that the main thing,
All
or was it the
all of
head
that.
shape, or
All
was
of
it
that.
like, yeah.
Well, again, Matt didn't really know what he wanted. He just said, "I wanna be more consistent in putting." And we go, "You just won the money title." "Yeah, but I wanna win more." So, he wanted to be more consistent in putting, and his belief was that if he tried this style, a different style similar to what Bernhard Langer did at the '93 Masters, he would be more consistent. Him and his coach Chris O'Connell from Plain Truth worked on that, and then we were the vendor and the guys to make that happen. So again, a lot of variety with lofts, offsets, neck locations, flow necks, spud necks, plumber's necks. Just trying again. Hey Matt, we sent him 5 putters. What do you think of these? Hey, out of the 5, I liked one of them, but I want to change this. Hey, 5 more. What do you think of this? So it's just that development and R&D process with Kuchar was pivotal in creating this putter.
Why did you land on the kind of thick blade? Was that just a preference thing, or because it
That was
seems
his
kind of stuck with the
preference.
blade with the arm lock is like kind of a theme kind of going
Well, I
forward.
think great question. When you're thinking about putters and, for us, what models we want to produce, if you take that wide body blade, which I feel like we were really some of the first people to start making that, and now it's everywhere. It's your classic, BB1 answer style head, but with a wider flange, which to me allows for more confidence at address. So
Mm.
when you look down at that thing versus looking at a very skinny blade, you still have the blade appearance with the top line, the muscles, the shoulders, the flange, right, with the bumpers and everything. It's classic blade appearance, but it's wider, right? So it's like somebody using your butter knife blades versus going to cavity back blades. Of course, cavity backs look easier to hit and add more confidence from address versus that skinny blade. It's the same reason why you see the top 30 players on tour. I think over half of them are now using mallets. They're just easier to use. They're more forgiving. So same thing with that wide blade. That was a more forgiving and better putter from address that added more confidence to players. So again, great model that we debuted and did extremely well when we launched them.
Okay, take me back to your pitch when you're in that office. How do you describe to someone like I've never had one, I just bought one. Like how do I use this thing? Like teach me how to verbally walk me through how to putt with it.
Sure. I would say, Cordy, congrats on buying your arm lock. I go, it's a great putter. First thing first, you got to get the length dialed in. So I would say let your forearms hang freely and grab the putter and put it on your arm. And the ideal point, which is what Matt did, is the butt end of the grip, which 2 inches below his left elbow. So a lot of arm locks we sold back then, we sold uncut
Hmm.
to golf courses and club fitters where they could take that uncut putter and measure for their member or measure for their customer where to put the shaft, right? So once they got the shaft down, they gripped it, they held it, and they're like, "Well, this is weird. How do I hold this?" And our statement was always, you should have the ball positioned slightly forward in your stance, a little bit off the inside of the left toe, and have a slight forward press. And then from there, why I still use arm lock and love it to this day, is you're just rocking the shoulders, right? We have all been there with a 5 footer to win some money off our friends or playing in a tournament where you have that 5 footer, your hands get a little shaky, right? You take it back not too far, you decel, you take it back and you push it. I love the arm lock technique because it's all the big muscles in the body. So it's just feeling like you're rocking it. And one of the training tips or techniques Matt always taught me was just take the arm lock in your left hand and swing it with your left arm only, right? Only left arm. Only I'm going to stand up and show you, right? So just here. And then put the right arm on and that just kind of acts as your guide where it's just, again, it's all big muscles. And that's where, to me, it's still a great technique. You still see it on the tour to this day of people using it and having success. I know Zero Torque's taken over, not so much on tour, but there's been a good amount of guys. Counterbalance has been popular. But I think for players looking for another way to be more consistent and stable, arm locks is such a game changer.
Tell me about the right hand. What do you see work there best? Just normal grip, a claw, like what kind of
Just a
things?
normal grip.
Yeah.
I've seen guys do claw. I've seen guys like Eduardo Molinari. They'll do like reverse. They'll put it up here. I've tried that. It doesn't work for me.
Huh.
But I think for the customer and the golfer, you have to feel comfortable. You don't want to try something and it takes a couple rounds and some practice to get used to because again, it is a new technique, but you got to find what works best for you. I don't think there's a wrong answer per se. Work with a coach if you can. If not, just take the putter out and start hitting them.
Yeah. Tell me about the reverse arm lock. What the heck is going on there? What is what is that all about?
That's what I said too. That's what I said to Matt as well. What is this thing? So same kind of concept. Probably 3 years ago, said he wanted to be more consistent on putting, and he felt that if he put it on his right arm, he would be able to keep his stroke more compact.
Okay.
Sometimes he felt like with the regular arm lock, he was following through too much throughout the stroke. Where if it's on your right arm, it's harder to keep the putter head going up and out. So to create that right-handed arm lock, number one, you need negative loft. So we made him his putters at -1, -2 degrees of loft into the face because the ball, right, it's so far backwards. So that was a product that we made for him. We've never made it at retail. I just think it's too niche. And a lot of broadcasters on TV, have said, "Hey, look at Matt. He's putting with this style where it's on his right arm. What does he do?" Right? It's very unique, but Kuchar's always been a phenomenal putter, a top 15, top 30 putter in strokes gained, putting stats. So can't argue with what works for him. And I remember the first time he put it in play, he texted me Sunday night. He goes, "Look at that! Look at those stats! I just led the field in strokes gained putting." So he was so excited. And again, can't argue with what he wants. These tour players know exactly what they want. They know what they want within centimeters, millimeters, right? They are very precise in their builds and their requests of what we make them. So if that's what he wanted, that's what he gets.
I like it. So I cannot go buy the reverse arm lock on your website then. Is that what you're
We can
telling me?
make you one to tinker with, but I don't think it's a putter for the masses. I think again, arm lock was challenging enough for people to get used to, where that right arm lock just feels to me very awkward on how to set up. But again, Kuchar's got 10 hours, 12 hours a day to go practice and make it happen.
Any downsides to armlock in general that you've seen? I know when we talked to Marty, he was saying that something that they've seen a little bit is maybe like speed control and lag putting and stuff is something that might be a downside of armlock. Have you seen the same? Any other thoughts on potential like downsides to armlock?
I haven't because I've used it for 12 years and it's the best thing that's ever happened to my putting. I agree with what Marty said is that some people it takes time to get used to lag putting because your arms are connected and you're losing a little bit of that feel, that paintbrush stroke of your arms being free and just kind of feeling the putt in the hole. Where sometimes when I put the arm lock in timeout, I grabbed the short putter when I played some greens at 13, 14 on the stem because I wanted just to feel the putter again versus being so mechanical and robotic, right? When you set up the arm lock, you're rocking your shoulders and you're going. So I agree a little bit with that. It's never been really a problem for me on speed control. Again, I've been using it so long. But to the average consumer, yes, it's a new putting technique. It's something you have to practice and you have to learn. It's like if you go get a lesson from your coach and he's telling you, hey, when you come on downswing on your driver, I want you swinging to 11 o'clock, right? That's a new swing somebody's going to have to practice and try and get used to. So same thing for the arm lock. It's a brand new technique and a new method of putting. It just takes time.
Yeah. Who do you recommend trying this out for? Like, do you tell all your friends like, "Hey, you gotta like go try this putter, like try it out," or is it just like specific people?
I think
Any
a lot of my friends have bought it because they've seen how many putts I've made, and it works. So I think anybody really that just struggles with the shorter putts and just consistency on the greens, that was always my demise, those 3, 4, 5, 6 footers, and that's where I saw immediate improvement. So I think if you're somebody that gets a little, uptight around those length putts, this is a great model for you. If you're looking for more stability and more consistency on the greens, it's a great model for you. Same thing I'd say with our zero torque putters like the Antidote. If you struggle with putting and you want more stability, it's a great model. So I think arm lock again, if you have the patience to put some time in and practice with this brand new putter, this is a great model for you.
did you have like I switched to a long putter probably, I don't know, a couple years ago, just because the right hand on those short putts in a tournament, I don't know, it sometimes feels weird. You got to
It
get rid of
feels
it.
weird. There's a new sensation that takes over. We've all been there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I think again, if you're that guy and you switch to long, so people that have used bellies, that have used long, that have messed with counterbalance, that use high MOI mallets, again, anyone that's looking for an advantage on the greens, the arm lock is the place to go.
So tell me about ARMLOCK since 2013. Has it kind of been consistent? Is it a thing of like you guys there was a big burst and then it's kind of mellowed out over time? Is this kind of alternative putting kind of growing for you guys? Like how do you view it
I
as
think
a
it's
as a company?
Yeah, as a company, I think of it's a model that we need to offer every year because we created the technology and it's a great putter that works. When you think about some of our customers, right, like PG Superstore, Golf Galaxy, Worldwide Golf, Club Champion, like the bigger accounts that have stores, Club Champion's got 140 stores around the country. They're less likely to have that as a demo in their matrix of their 50 putters on their putting green. Some of the bigger stores may carry one per store or one in their better doors. Um, so it's definitely mellowed out over time. I think we all know zero torque is the big trend right now because again, that's a putter someone can just pick up and go,
Mhm.
right? You don't need to learn a new style. You just grab the putter. So I think huge burst in 2013, kind of mellowed out in 2014, and then picked up again in a big way when the anchoring ban went into effect in 2016. And then again, when Bryson won the U.S. Open, what at Winged Foot was that 2022? Or no, that was when Fitz won, maybe
2020.
21,
Yeah.
2020. Yep, the COVID year. Big surge then because he was using an arm lock putter. So anytime the old saying in golf is what wins on Sunday sells on Monday, anytime there's been players that are using and winning with that style or it's visibly noticeable on TV, we'll see a little bit of an uptick. So I think overall it's mellowed out. It's something we're going to carry for a long time, but it's not surging by any means. It's a night, like you mentioned, it's an alternative putting style.
what do you predict over the next 5 years? Like on tour, it's Bryson, Matt plays one. Does anyone else play an armlock on tour right now?
I think Webb Simpson
Yeah.
still plays one.
Yep. Do you think
Um,
we're gonna see that stay the same? Do you think we'll see more players playing an armlock in 3 5 years? What's your prediction?
well, my prediction was when we launched it that there should have been a lot more players using it because it just works.
Yeah.
So why more players haven't adapted to it? I know I work with a lot of great amateurs and a lot of professionals, and I always mention them, hey, if you're struggling with putting, why not try arm lock? And a lot of the statement is, I just can't get used to it. Right? Or I just can't fathom using this style, right? Again, it's
Mhm.
a change. It's something that if you want to put the time into and become a better putter, I think I'm living, breathing testament of that style because I was a horrible putter. Now I think it's the strength of my game. So I'm a huge believer in the technique. I think I have a son who's 7 years old, and this summer I put him into an arm lock to play some U.S. Kids Junior Golf tournaments. I put him into an arm lock. He loved it for about a round, and then he hated it. So if I were teaching my kids and to play golf, I would want to get him into an arm lock because I feel like it's almost like cheating. But back to what I've echoed throughout this segment is that it is a change. It is something you have to get used to. You have to put practice in. So I'm shocked there's not more players using it, to be honest. So having said that, looking at what people are using, I think it's going to probably stay pretty static unless somebody big comes around like a Scheffler and starts winning everything with that arm lock technique, or the next big player starts winning with it. It's going to stay probably where it's at.
Yeah. I mean, you would have thought Bryson's influence would have propelled it to more popularity, but just it doesn't seem like it has?
It is not.
Okay, before we wrap, let's get your 90-second thoughts on the long putter, just because that's part of the series too, talking about it. What's your thought on the long putter?
Yeah, we launched our long putter in September, the SB2 long. It's the same head I'm holding right here. Where we engineered that head to have a lie angle of 79 degrees. It's a 500-gram head because the long putter we know is, 45 to 48, 49 inches in length. So it's a very heavy head. I tried it for about 8 minutes and I just couldn't figure it out. I know there's a lot of, some of my friends, a lot of our customers that swear by it since we've launched it. They've been selling pretty well. There's a lot of online groups, the broomstick mafia, right? That love that broomstick and swear by it. My personal belief, right, is that I don't understand how somebody likes the stability of the broomstick not being connected to your body. So now you have two factors. You have this arm hand that can wiggle, and you have the right hand that can also move around. So now you have to think of two things to keep quiet. Where again, the arm lock, you put it on your forearm, you rock the shoulders, it's done. The broomstick, you're here, and you got this. You either do the pencil, right, or the grip. I can't wrap my mind around it. So maybe you tell me otherwise why you like it, Cordy. But somebody's got to explain it to me better than what's going on.
I think that you're a man that has firmly been in the armlock camp since 2013, and I don't think you're
That's
getting
it.
out of it anytime soon.
I tried because I did have some putting woes this summer, so I went to the studio in July and tried to use the broomstick. And again, just the thought of this being loose with my left arm made me just say, like Shark Tank, I'm out, right? I just can't do it.
I like it. So this was your first launch into the long putter this September
First
for you
launch in
guys.
a long time. We used to
Okay.
make bellies and long putters back in, 06 to
Uh,
2010, 11. The Baby Ben, which was this putter I brought up earlier. We made this at a broomstick and a
Oh,
belly putter. This is the model
okay.
Jim Furyk won the U.S. Open with in 2003.
Yep.
So we have made them before, but they just died out in popularity when the arm lock and the belly band was announced, or the anchoring band was announced. So fast forward to now, the broomsticks come back in a big way, and people are always looking for ways to putt better. We wanted to make it. They've been going great. It's just not something I would use.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So if someone's listening to this, they're like, hey, I want to try out an arm lock. Um, they could maybe go on eBay like I did and grab one of the original models, which I am excited to see when it gets here, and see those 7 degrees
Nice.
of loft. What else? Let's see. I've got your website open here. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna share my screen
Yeah,
quick.
we
Okay,
offer the
so
beating 28 flop back in an arm lock. All the Innovate heads, there it is right there, the BB28. We're sold out on those because we have our new models coming out very soon. Those
Nice.
Innovates are another 3 or 4 months till end of life cycle.
Okay.
But yeah, we have our 28, great model. I would highly recommend going to one of our trusted retailers, find a dealer on our website, visit them and go get fit for it. I would say unless you kind of know what you want, order it online, try it out. Great. We have a nice exchanger program within 14 days as long as it's new. You can send it back to us. But if not, got to get fit. Go try it. Go feel it in person to figure out the length. I think the length is a number one to figure out what you want to do.
Got it. And you can just, so this is kind of, what's your setup? You go, like, just for someone if they're curious, like, what's your
I'm
height
at
and like
40.
what do you do?
Yeah, I'm 6 feet tall.
Okay.
My arm lock's 42 3/4 inches. I
Okay.
have 5 degrees of loft, and my lie angle is at 69.
Okay. Got it.
So I'm
Got it.
slightly flat, our standard loft of 5, and I'm a little bit longer because I got some back issues and I want to stand taller to the ball versus being a lot lower. And again, a funny story, Cooch, he started at 44 inches and even got down at one point to 40 inches.
Hmm.
So he's messed with it over the years on his posture and how tall he wants to be and where he wants to hold the putter. So it's just something everybody who's listening, just try it. Go mess around with it and just tinker on a putting green and see what feels good.
Very good. Sam, thank you for your time. It's fun to hear the story, kind of get the background of where it started and kind of your thoughts on it today. It's cool.
Thank you, Cordy. I appreciate it.